English translation, 482nd contact. Sunday, 22nd November 2009, 13:17 hours.
Hello, Ptaah, dear friend. Glad you're here already. I thought you would be on your way here first. My greetings for your coming, and welcome.
Thank you, Edward, my dear friend.
May I address our problem regarding the Czech study group?
As I already explained to you on the 14th of October, I was unfortunately not able to take care of it myself due to lack of time. The older I get, the more work I have to do, so I have more and more things to do.
Oh no, you are speaking from the heart, bub. I feel the same way.
Ah ha ha, yes ha ha ha. Sorry, ha ha. Yes, I know, Father. Ha ha ha.
When you have recovered, and you are no longer writhing, can you tell me?
Of course. Ha 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 ha. I have already checked our records on that. Ha ha, this is good. Very good even, ha ha. But seriously now, you were right to dissolve the Czech study group at your meeting yesterday. As Florina reported to me, this was an untenable and orderly catastrophic situation. A new foundation by persons who respect the order and rules of the FIGU is inevitable, but the old members of the study group will not be allowed to join the new group. In principle, however, I would have said that it was not necessary for us to clarify the matter, because with regard to all the tiresome machinations and the related written matters over a long period of time, the core group could also have acted in the manner decided at yesterday's meeting without our clarification. Of course, the core group has been lied to and deceived, but the matter should have been better monitored and investigated, which unfortunately has not happened. As for the setting up of a new Czech study group, the whole process must be carried out under new management, and I have taken Bernadette into consideration in this respect, because she seems to me to be the right person for the job. I am deliberately not considering you anymore, because it is time that the core group members start to take care of all FIGU matters and things themselves.
You are right. Let me ask you a question about the world language that will be spoken in about 1,000 years. If I have understood this correctly, then this world language, which will then be the best spoken language, does not mean that there will be a uniform language on Earth, but that there will simply be a world auxiliary language in addition to all other languages, such as the failed Esperanto, etc. This statement is either a language that exists today or one that has yet to be created. This is how I understood your explanation you made earlier.
That is also true.
On the 14th of October, in our most recent private conversation, you mentioned, in regard to the predictions, that you would deliberate about whether such predictions should continue to be made or not. So what is the corresponding conclusion?
We have found that all the predictions that have been made since 1975 up to the current time have in no way borne any fruit with the Earth humans. This has been just as much the case with your predictions and prophetic warnings, which were given no heed. Consequently, many things from your warnings have, in the meantime, come true, and also continue to come true. Therefore, we have come to agree that predictions do not cause Earth humanity to become reasonable. Therefore, we no longer want to draw their attention by means of predictions to what the future brings them in terms of evil. For 3 decades, we have made the effort to warn the Earth humans through you and your mission, as you have already done again and again from your side for almost 60 years, which has in no way led to success. So now, we no longer want to prepare clarifications for predictions, and we want to end our activity regarding that, which has always taken a great deal of time.
So, no more predictions. That is good and lessens my burdens, which have not seldom weighed heavily on me.
I know that. Many things have also weighed very heavily on me.
All that can certainly not simply pass over one without a trace. With the whole matter, I simply find the stupid and stubborn behavior of the human beings of the Earth extremely regrettable. Under no circumstances do they want to perceive, recognize, or understand the actual truth, namely, that all evil, and the climate change with its natural catastrophes, is only their very own fault, which is founded in the rampant overpopulation. Admittedly, worldwide, there is talk about climate change, also at the climate conferences, as will also be the case again in December in Copenhagen. But nothing intelligent ever comes out of it. That will also be the case in Copenhagen, where great and senseless words will be spoken and decisions, which are even more senseless, will be made by all those in positions of responsibility who shut their eyes and senses to the truth. There, stupid and silly speeches will be the order of the day, along with the fact that, as a result of this entire Copenhagen senselessness, enormous amounts of CO2 will be created through which the stock of oxygen on Earth will be even more impaired than it already, catastrophically, has been up until now. And, also, naturally, with the whole idiotic and dim-witted climate protection conference palaver, great masses of crazies from all over the world will organize demonstrations, and the required travel to Copenhagen will blow further enormous amounts of poison gas into the atmosphere, as is the case with the actual conference participants. Just in this regard alone, both groups are equally stupid and daft, and do not think at all about what they do just with their travel to make the climate catastrophe even worse. But, just as the conference participants will make dim-witted speeches and will decide on completely idiotic and ineffective measures, so are the demands of the demonstrators also dim-witted and idiotic, because they scream just as much for senseless and daft measures which are supposed to be decided by the conference participants and carried out by the countries. The demonstrators are just as stupid and daft as are the conference attendees themselves, in that they only scream for senseless measures. However, they utter not a word relating to what the reason for the climate catastrophe is and what must be done about it. None of these brain-amputated demonstrators who go around bellowing, and, likewise, none of the brainless conference participants have sufficient intelligence to recognize that the true reason for the stark climate change and the resulting and incessantly increasing natural catastrophes is the rampant overpopulation. They are all too stupid and daft to get to the bottom of the actual truth, and also to understand it, and to understand that finally something must be done about the overpopulation, because only such measures can be effective. The fact is that, namely, only a very quick, regulated, worldwide control of births can be useful, as a result of which very many more human beings die a natural death than are born. But that is something that not only the conference attendees and the respective demonstrators have to finally comprehend, rather it is something that the entire terrestrial humanity must finally understand and convert into action. Neither private desires for children, nor the supposed private right concerning descendants, can play any role in this at all. As a result of the overpopulation created by the Earth humans, and the climatic catastrophe which is thereby evoked, the human beings of the Earth must, as a result of their responsibility for the planet, its nature, the fauna and flora, as well as for the further existence of terrestrial humanity, rationally forego their supposed right to simply be permitted to beget descendants according to their free will. The mass must be regulated and correspond to the responsibility regarding what is supportable, and indeed without ifs and buts, and without selfish affectations. The time, reason, and the stark climate change demand that a worldwide and radically effective control of births is carried out very quickly so that the rabbit-like proliferation of humanity ceases, and nature can again, in the course of time, normalize and regulate itself. Certainly that is a very long process which will be calculated in centuries, but it is actually the only way in which a solution will be approached, and the need to be saved from the worst can be prevented. And furthermore to say about that is that everything catastrophic with which the planet Earth, its fauna and flora, the human beings, the atmosphere, and with that, also the climate, is afflicted, is criminal and is based on all the things that the human being of the earth has created. To that also belongs the production of nourishment for all the human beings, through which monstrous quantities of poisons of all kinds enter the soil and the atmosphere, pollute everything, and powerfully advance climate change. When one considers just the many millions of animals and all the other creatures that are bred as nourishment and, through whose breathing and colonic gases, monstrous amounts of poison gas enter the air, then one can see that that is already a catastrophe. If then, in regard to this, however, one considers how much fodder this livestock needs, and how this could nourish innumerable human beings, because it is fodder that the human beings could also use as nourishment, then naked horror arises in the rationally thinking human being. And if, regarding this, one further considers that, of the 7,600,000 human beings who exist on the earth today, 1,346,000 human beings are starving, and innumerable die of hunger, then it must be asked, how long will it actually continue until the majority of human beings of the earth finally are pregnant with intelligence and reason, and begin to think and to act? There is unfortunately only a small handful of human beings of the earth who are capable of using intelligence and reason and, furthermore, they are not mighty ones of the state, academics or others with big names. Consequently, the simple humans, without great office and title, are not listened to when they have something significant and important to say. That has already been the case since time immemorial.
You have already taught all of that since your childhood, but unfortunately there are only a few Earth humans who pay attention to your words, your warnings, and your teaching.
Unfortunately, that is true, at least in regard to the majority of all human beings, because it is indeed done here and there, however only sparsely if one considers the great mass of humanity. And it is also these isolated human beings who are very grateful that I raise my words and teach the truth, even if that does not please many adversaries, know-it-alls, stirrers, and critics.
That will unfortunately also not change greatly in the present time. Consequently, it will continue to only be isolated Earth humans who will turn to what you teach.
I know that. It takes time for everything, especially the truth, to penetrate and stimulate the human being's intelligence and reason.
One moment, please. Unfortunately, I am being called and must leave urgently. Probably my absence will last longer than a month. Until then, dear friend, goodbye.
Then I guess it will be next year until you come back, January or February.
So it will be.
Well then, take care, and also goodbye.